my values on the line to make a very important choice in my life. And all you could think was, what do we get? You get what you have earned, and what you have earned is nothing!
I'm Mike, and I do not approve this message.
To say Halo Campaign Evolved was released unfinished would be an understatement. This is the second time they tried modernizing my favorite Halo, and while they did learn from some of their previous mistakes and made a lot of improvements compared to the Anniversary Edition, if you take a moment to look at the bigger picture, one thing is very clear. Halo Campaign Evolved does not seem to understand itself or its source material. Xbox gave me a free copy of the game. I did not purchase this using my own money, and I still want my money back. To play Halo Campaign Evolved, you will need to sign in with a Microsoft account and link it to your Steam account? What? What happened with buying a game and just pressing play? What a bad first impression.
Screen calibration button list item 2 of 5.
Great, voice narration is on by default. Look at all these display options. We have borderless full screen and that's it. Yep, just one single option because why have multiple of them? And upscaling cannot even be turned off, meaning everyone is forced to use it. Truly a remade experience. We will talk about the other default settings a bit later. For now, let's move on to the campaign. The old loading screen is back. In Halo Combat Evolved, the first thing we see is a halo, followed by a nice shot of the Pillar of Autumn. In Campaign Evolved, the halo is hidden from us and kept a surprise until the end of the level, making the first shot a lot less impactful. We see the Pillar of Autumn going through a slip space portal, which is a nice continuation of what happens at the end of Halo Reach. Captain Keyes looks nothing like the original. His facial expressions show fear and anger, instead of the calm and composed Keyes we see in Combat Evolved. What doesn't help is that he got revoiced. The voice is not bad, but the delivery is just not it, Chief. He just yells at everyone.
Well, that's it then. Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha.
Well, that's it then. Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha.
I want everyone at their stations.
Everyone, sir?
Everyone.
I want everyone at their stations.
Everyone, sir?
Everyone.
Moving on to Cortana, where do I even start? First, listen, you should never judge a person based on their appearance. However, if they make Cortana look like Germa 985, you can make an exception.
I don't know if you've seen the discourse online, but people are saying Cortana in Campaign Evolved looks just like Germa, but I don't know really. I mean, they're not that Oh.
Her facial expressions used to show concern, sadness, and sometimes happiness. Now she looks sassy and just not friendly. All of her voice lines have been re-recorded, and her tone does not match what is going on.
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now, nothing serious.
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now. Nothing serious.
But I've isolated approach signatures for multiple CCS-class battle groups. Make it 3 capital ships per group. And in about 90 seconds, they'll be all over us.
And in about 90 seconds, they'll be all over us.
And Cortana.
And Cortana.
Also, why is she blue instead of purple? Do the developers hate purple? Well, believe it or not, that will be a topic later in the video, and spoiler, yes they do. Onto the second scene of the intro, the original used to have this really awesome part of the Marines getting ready to fight the Covenant, followed by a shot showcasing some Pelicans and the vehicles that we will be able to use later in the campaign. This scene teaches us that the UNSC has a lot of resources and can definitely put up a fight. The remake does not have any of that. Here we just start with a basic shot of Johnson looking into the camera when talking, and the Marines barely looking bothered by what is going on. None of the vehicles get showcased and there are no wide shots. Johnson also got revoiced. His voice is not bad, but whoever directed the actor had no idea what made the Johnson character great.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
When we meet the enemy, we will rip their skulls from their spines and toss them away laughing.
When we meet the enemy, we will rip their skulls from their spines and toss them away laughing.
Well, I don't care if it's God's own anti-son of a bitch machine or a giant hula hoop, we're not gonna let him have it!
Well, I don't care if it's God's own anti-son of a bitch machine or a giant hula hoop. We are not gonna let him have it!
What we will let them have is a belly full of lead and a pool of their own blood to drown in. Am I right, Marines?
What we will let them have is a belly full of lead and a pool of their own blood to drown in. Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir! Mm-hmm. Damn right I am. Now move it out. Double time. Sir, yes, sir!
Mm-hmm, damn right I am. Now move it out, double time!
All you greenhorns who wanted to see Covenant up close, this is gonna be your lucky day.
All you greenhorns who wanted to see Covenant up close, this is gonna be your lucky day.
For some reason, we continue with some more up-close shots of the space battle, showing that the Covenant is attacking the Pillar of Autumn. It then cuts to Johnson and some Marines fighting some Covenant and trying to get into a lifeboat to get off the Autumn, followed by some awkward silence.
Keep your eyes downrange, fingers on the triggers, and we'll all go home in one piece.
Master Chief gets woken up and we do not get that awesome first-person part of the cryo tube opening, the crewman activating our health monitor and then having to press E to get out of the cryo tube. Instead we get an awkward part of the crewman using the same lines from the original and having a lot of long pauses in between while looking at a tablet.
Vital signs look normal, no freezer burn. I gave you a double dose of the wake-up stim.
In Combat Evolved, the crewman only tells the player to stay on the red square once.
Stand on the red square, please.
And waits there until the player is ready to step on it, because, you know, some people need a few seconds to get a feel of the movement or just the game in general. In the remake, this guy is programmed to say the same voice line over and over again every 8 seconds.
Stand on the red square, please. 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 Stand on the red square, please.
If the player refuses to look at him, he will again repeat the same line over and over again. This did not happen in Combat Evolved because the mouse tutorial happened before the player was able to use their keyboard. It happened that way for a reason. The tutorial is the same, except that if you do it with objectives turned off, the guy looks at his tablet for 20 seconds before continuing his dialogue.
Okay, that looks good.
Sir, I'm getting some calibration errors.
Turning off objectives also turned off the thing that says what button to press to choose the inverse look, meaning the tutorial cannot be completed without objectives on. What a stupid oversight.
Okay, sir, bring them down to test the automatic recharge.
Why is this thing so fast? It hurts to look at. The original was much slower.
You'd better get to your evac group, Sam.
Affirmative. I just have to reset the computer and I'm out of here.
That guy shows many facial expressions. Truly a remade experience. The crewman runs away and no longer waits for the player, meaning the part where he gets blown off can easily be missed. This fire does not hurt the player like in the original, which is really bad, because the remake adds in a lot of fire in the first level, and touching it always deals damage. Speaking of fire damage, the animation for taking damage seems to be unfinished. The game locks you in place during this part, something that does not happen in CE. This door is open, but there's an invisible wall blocking the player from going through it. Combat Evolved does not have this. Marines can now moan when being touched. Onto the Keys cutscene, it just doesn't feel right. There are a bunch of long pauses between sentences, which makes everything feel extremely awkward. The way the characters speak also does not help.
Report!
It must have been one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Report!
It must be one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
All right, then. I'm initiating Cold Protocol Article 2. We're abandoning the Autumn.
I'm initiating Cold Protocol Article 2. We're abandoning the Autumn.
That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
In a manner of speaking. The object we found, I'm gonna try and land the Autumn on it.
In a manner of speaking, the object we found. I'm going to try to land the Autumn on it.
With all due respect, sir, this war has enough dead heroes.
With all due respect, sir, this war has enough dead heroes.
I appreciate your concern, Cortana, but it's not up to me.
I appreciate your concern, Cortana, but it's not up to me.
Protocol is clear. Destruction or capture of a shipboard AI is absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're leaving ship.
The protocol is clear. Destruction or capture of a shipboard AI is absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're leaving ship.
Lock in a selection of emergency landing zones, upload them to my neural lace, and then sort yourself for a heart transfer.
Aye, aye, sir.
Lock in a selection of emergency landing zones, upload them to my neural lace, then sort yourself for a heart transfer.
Aye, aye, sir.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
Your architecture isn't that much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
Don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
Make sure my daughter gets this.
After the cutscene, Keyes just stands there like a statue and no longer talks to the player.
Get moving, Master Chief. There's nothing you can do here.
I gave you an order, soldier. Get off this ship.
We need to get going, Chief. We need to get off the ship before it's completely overrun by Covenant.
He can be pushed around, and I'm pretty sure you can just push it all the way to the end of the level if you really want to. Master Chief picks up a different Magnum and does not use the one Keyes gave him. This hurt Marine cannot be shot even though friendly fire is on. It's still possible to shoot Captain Keyes, and the Marines are invincible like in the original, however they are not as aggressive.
That's it. I'm shutting you down.
How are you, an AI, going to destroy the Master Chief? How stupid is that? NPCs do not react to their screens being shot and continue typing like nothing happened. Truly a remade experience. Some of them can even take like 50 different shots to the head and show no reaction. This also happened in the original, but it's been 25 years. You couldn't have added some custom interactions? Staying on the topic of NPCs, we used to have these NPCs walking around and looking at monitors. This no longer happens. Everyone just sits down using the same sitting animation, and they no longer interact with the screen like they used to. The space combat looks good, but none of the Covenant ships move or do anything special. Oh, and bullets can pass through them. The ragdolls can clip through doors, and the doors do not react to decals. 25 years ago, Bungie fixed this problem by keeping the door closed. The medkit mechanic got removed. This was done because the developers are lazy. They changed some of the enemy encounters and could not bother taking a few seconds to think about where to place some of the health packs around the levels, so they decided to take the easy way out.
That's a Covenant overshield.
From a lore perspective, why would Cortana tell Master Chief what overshields are? For those saying that this was added to help the new players, here is a question. Who has ever had a problem not understanding what an overshield is? One positive thing is that the overshields can now be activated at any time, instead of being activated on touch. This means you can activate one and then pick up the other one for later. It's possible to swap weapons with the Marines. Unfortunately, unlike in the previous titles, the Marines do not seem to have any voice lines for this action. Or maybe I broke the game, I don't know.
Thank you. Oh, it's still warm.
Me suck a lot less, if have good gun, you know.
That's right. He wanted my gun.
Are you mentally handicapped, sir?
Sorry, grip's a little sweaty.
Elites completely ignore Marines and just focus on the player, and their AI does not seem to be that smart. Speaking of the elites, these OG voice lines have been replaced with a bunch of basic quotes in English, and they no longer laugh when killing the player. They also used to run away and crouch when low HP. Now they do not. Why do the lifeboats stop mid-air exactly before being destroyed? They don't even do that in CE.
My analysis suggests our exit will be behind a green-lit door. Scan the area, Chief.
Not only is the green-lit door the only way to go, but it's also a green-lit door. And if that's not enough, they also have Cortana tell us where to go, and she ends up placing a nav point. No wonder game journalists gave this an 8 out of 5. This is the perfect game for them.
If you can get behind them, one melee hit to the back will neutralize most hostiles.
These elites shoot at the glass forever. 25 years ago, they used to leave immediately after noticing the player. Also, who the hell is this guy? The guy that got shot in the beginning of the level had a different appearance and got shot near the door, but he is nowhere to be seen. CE is way more accurate. The second dead guy could have been killed after Master Chief got out of the room, but this, I mean, come on. Yeah, why would an explosion hurt the enemies? Okay, please pay attention to this transition. Where did the enemies come from? Master Chief used to grab the Marine in a badass way and throw him like a sack of potatoes. Now he grabs the Marine extremely carefully, puts him in the lifeboat, and starts shooting at some dancing Covenant. What are these guys doing? The cutscene plays out in a similar way, except the reveal of the halo sucks. How do you see this and decide, nah, we gotta change that? What used to be an awesome shot of the lifeboat barely managing to avoid the explosions near the Pillar of Autumn now looks like something that was generated by AI. Everything used to be dark, mysterious, and scary. Now it's a bunch of happy-looking clouds and the lifeboat casually going into a PNG of a sky they probably found on Google. Luckily, Campaign Evolved uses the same soundtrack as Combat Evolved, so even though most of the cutscenes suck, the music makes them bearable to get through. I guess this would also be a good time to mention that all of the cutscenes are pre-rendered and no longer happen in-game. Basically, if you have motion blur and any other bullshit settings turned off, the cutscene still uses them. Because everything is pre-rendered, the Master Chief skins that were marketed and sold as bonus content in the deluxe or premium whatever edition of the game will not affect his look in the cutscenes. The skins can only be seen in-game, and if you do not have any friends to play co-op with, well, then the skins are pointless because there is no competitive multiplayer. How do you release a $70 campaign with no competitive multiplayer and expect people to be happy with you charging so much money? Those who bought the premium edition had to deal with the stupid day one game-breaking bugs, such as the game not even launching, or not being able to play because the servers were down and their account had no internet connection, even though this is a single-player game, which should not require any internet connection whatsoever, but what do I know? Anyway, let's see what they did with the second mission. The cutscene shows how the Marines died during the crash, which confirms that they were not squashed by Master Chief, and this did not happen.
Sure you wouldn't rather?
All of the first-person shots from the original were completely removed. It seems Halo Studios wanted to present this game as an outsider's perspective view of the Halo events, which means you, as a player, are not the Master Chief, but instead play as Master Chief. Something that I like is just how brutal the lifeboat destruction is. Fire, blood, and debris can be seen all over the place, showing why this crash was fatal for the Marines. The view of the Halo is also kind of nice. Anyway, there is a way to softlock the game in the first 10 seconds of the level by jumping on the second bridge and getting a checkpoint. Who playtested this? The original geometry of the lower bridge was designed in a way to make the player slip off when trying to jump on it. This was obviously done intentionally to keep idiots such as myself from soft locking themselves and having to restart the entire level. Halo Studios saw this and they were like, whatever, just copy-paste the same bridge geometry twice and call it a day. Nobody is gonna try jumping down there anyway. In the OG, a Covenant dropship used to drop off some enemies. These enemies would notice you from a distance, get on the bridge you just crossed, and then slowly make their way to you. This was put in to push the player away from the starting area and make him continue on with the mission. In Campaign Evolved, the dropship still drops off the enemies, but now they just stand there like idiots and do not even try getting on the bridge. It's very clear the developers never tried understanding why some of the encounters were designed in a specific way. They copied the enemy encounters without even thinking about looking into the code and seeing if they were programmed to do anything else. I guess this would also be a good time to mention that the sprint somehow made its way in. The team behind Campaign Evolved mentioned it's possible to beat the campaign without it, which I can confirm is true. However, what they failed to mention is that not using sprint has gameplay disadvantages, and I'm mostly talking about the melee mechanic. Trying to melee enemies without sprint is impossible unless you are literally touching the enemy you are trying to melee. Why does everything have to be changed for no reason? The levels are literally the same size as in the OG, sometimes even smaller. What is wrong with making the walking speed faster? A positive change is that the dropships now drop enemies from a higher point, solving a problem that the OG used to have, where the player could get into the dropship, fall off, and die. But for some reason, they decided to remove the invisible wall that blocked the players from getting into the Pelican, which means you can now get in it, fly away, and get dropped off on the other side of the map. Not sure if this was intentional, but I think I kind of like it. This is what Halo is all about. Now, we have to talk about the new Forerunner structures. Again, why? Why change something that was good with something worse? These structures used to look ancient. Now they are just basic, and are not even the same shape as before.
This cave is not a natural formation. Someone built it, so it must lead somewhere.
This cave is not a natural formation. Someone built it, so it must lead somewhere.
In CE, if you try going into the natural formation without a warthog, you will come across this gap, basically hinting at the fact that you should probably go back, kill the enemies, and return with the warthog. Halo Studios saw this and they were like, oh, so this is supposed to be a ramp, and added a ramp in the remake, completely getting rid of the gap, meaning the player can now just skip the entire combat section and just continue on foot without being punished. Yeah, let's reward the player for skipping sections. Going back to a point that I made some time ago, Halo Studios hates purple. Now everything is dark blue, and that changes the feel of every single level. Blue, or in this case dark blue, is often associated with calmness and softness and can feel welcoming. Purple, on the other hand, is associated with mystery, enlightenment, and spirituality. So, dear viewers, please tell me, which one of these two colors fits better with the idea of finding a big Halo ring in space, landing on it, and not knowing what its true purpose is? Remember the short cutscene of the Master Chief turning on the bridge? It no longer exists. Of course it doesn't. If the cutscene is shorter than 10 seconds, why even remake it? Let's remove half of the features from the original, add in our own bullshit, and then call it a remake. I think this is a good time to talk about the default settings. First, the waypoints. In CE, the way the waypoints worked was very simple. If Cortana knew where Master Chief needed to go, she would place a waypoint there. If she did not know, well, the Chief had to explore the area on his own. But now, not only can she set a million waypoints at the same time, but she can also set waypoints on enemies that need to be killed. Like, are we that brain dead? Why is this on by default? And why is there no option to either have the waypoints be like in the original, or at least keep them as in the remake but turn off the ones above the enemies? Why does the player have to completely turn off waypoints to get rid of that? Next are on-screen objectives, which are also on by default and stay on the screen the entire time. Yes, let's always give the players instructions, even in situations that make no sense. Spoiler alert, but in 343 Guilty Spark, even though Cortana is not with us, waypoints and objectives are still placed all over the level. How does that make any sense? Who put them there? Was it the Master Chief? Why would the Master Chief do that in the middle of a flood attack? How does that make any sense? But wait, we have more. Friendly fire is off by default. That's right, most casual players will not even get to have some fun shooting at Marines because it's off by default, and can only be activated by going into a separate menu and not in the Start New Game menu. Campaign Evolved also adds in this blue overlay on the HUD, and it cannot be turned off because players don't deserve to make their HUD look like the original. The Pelican that picks up the Marines in the first crash site used to be in a different place. It now uses a cut landing zone. I learned that from this video.
On the Covenant BattleNet is find and expunge the putrid apes.
Return to the battlefield? Seriously? Is this Halo 5? Truly a remade experience.
Alert! There are jackal snipers on the high ground. I recommend you stay out of their line of fire.
Oh no! Getting in the Pelican. Going inside the waterfall shows you just how much of the budget went into the texture work. The gunship in the last crash site used to drop the Covenant enemies much farther away, giving the player the option to either snipe them from a distance or just quickly go to their location. Now it just drops them off here because yeah, you had to wait for Echo 419 to arrive, press E on the Pelican and get a nice transition from gameplay to a cutscene. In the remake, I mean, just watch.
I'm on my way.
The shot of the area we just explored is gone and has been replaced with more close-ups of Echo 419, Master Chief getting into the Pelican, and then a shot of the Pelican flying without showing us any of the level in the background. The original used to have 3 different cutscenes depending on which, areas you did first and last. This, however, only has one cutscene and it plays, all the time. Wow, what a crazy vista. It looks the same as the one seen at the beginning of the level. Laziness at its finest. Truly a remade experience. Mission 3. Truth and Reconciliation.
So how do we get inside the ship if it's in the air? The Corps issued me a rifle, not wings. There's a gravity lift that ferries troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. That's our ticket in.
Honestly, that was pretty good. And that's all the positive things I have to say about the remake of this mission. Truth and Reconciliation is supposed to be a stealth mission. You get a sniper and have to take out as many enemies as possible without being spotted. The Marines stand back and only advance when hearing the enemies return fire on Master Chief. Campaign Evolved completely ruins that by sending the Marines with the Master Chief for no reason and either having them stand in his way doing nothing or just talking loudly.
Oh! What's wrong with you?
How did the Covenant not hear that?
Yeah.
Careful. Hey, watch it. Careful.
The aliens are coming. We've been compromised.
Spit it out, Corporal.
Oh, Colonel. We are so fucked.
So yeah, the stealth still exists, but it's kind of ruined by the fact that you have to babysit a bunch of Marines. The shot of the Halo is awesome, but doesn't look as mysterious. This is where I was kind of starting to get pissed off. In Combat Evolved, you get to snipe some enemies from far away while the Marines hold back. They only advance when you advance, and follow you all the time instead of going after the enemies on their own. This was done so the player can lead the Marines instead of the Marines leading the player. Here's what happens when you try sniping the same enemies in the remake.
Oh, I see him. Okay, man. Same as last time. We'll hold up here while the Chief scouts ahead.
This left a very bad taste in my mouth. The developers have no idea what made the original great. Yes, let's have the Marines guide the player and let's let them explore the map first, because why would the player need to do that? Another unnecessary change is in this section. In the OG, the Covenant had the high ground, giving them more power and making it more difficult for the player to snipe them. For some reason, Halo Studios decided to give us the high ground for no reason whatsoever, making the Covenant look stupid in the process.
This is a Covenant active camouflage device. It will make us invisible for a short time, or until we open fire.
Thanks, Cortana. I did not know the active camo can make me invisible. Speaking of the active camo, I have played every single Halo in the franchise and the active camo has never been this bad. For literally no reason, jumping can make it turn off for a split second, giving the enemies enough time to see the player and shoot at him. Not only that, but the camo does not even work. Enemies can still see you 75% of the time.
Hunters, flank and hit their exposed worm bits.
Yes, let's have Cortana tell a joke when the Hunters, one of the most dangerous Covenant enemies, get introduced. Hunters can now one-shot the player. It's very difficult to make them turn around, and no weapon can one-shot them anymore. Basically, they are less fun to fight, and also, they are nothing like in the original. Kind of an overreaction. Remember the awesome cutscene of the Marines being lifted up by the gravity lift, followed by the Master Chief also being lifted up? It's all gone. The Marines no longer scream. And the going up the lift part happens in-game. A lot of fun dialogue got removed for no reason.
No Covenant defenses detected.
What? There's no Covenant here. Think maybe nobody's home.
Whoa! Contact! Lots of contacts!
No Covenant. You had to open your mouth.
No Covenant defenses detected.
Speaking of the Marines, they had much more personality in CE.
They won't mess with us again. That's what I'm talking about.
Don't worry. They'll be back.
That was me,
I'm
my
on
bad.
it. Watch it!
Yeah! I had a boom, baby. See, they're not so tough.
Yeah! They won't mess with us again! Ooh, what the?
Some from me, huh? Oh, yeah.
That's the way you do it, yeah!
To me. Keep that up.
Eyes on target.
That's the last of them.
Stealth elites, watch your motion tracker and look for distortions in the air.
As their name suggests, the stealth elites are supposed to be stealthy, meaning it should be difficult to spot them, but somehow Cortana spots one, even though he's not even on the motion tracker, and completely ruins their introduction. They are supposed to be scary. That is literally their only purpose. Knowing where they are at all times defeats the entire purpose of their design philosophy. You know how the game used to alert the player about a stealth elite being nearby? Like this. I got curious and decided to see what happens if Sergeant Johnson would magically die.
Target acquired! Taking rounds!
Yep, he just respawns like nothing happens, completely killing the immersion. Developers, please, if you want him to stay alive, just make him invincible, like he was in that game called, what was it? Oh yeah, Halo 2! Have you ever played that one, Halo Studios? Probably not yet. You still have to remake it, after all. Remember the strat of using an active camo, sneaking past the enemies and then making one of them get near a door and open it to skip the entire section? I did that all the time as a kid and now it no longer works, because the Covenant enemies cannot open Covenant locked doors. Yeah, just have the enemies spawn in front of the player. That's fine. Some of the enemies used to have the high ground and only shot at us from above. That makes sense. We are on a Covenant ship. Halo Studios did not see it that way, because now the enemies that have the high ground jump down for no reason, because God forbid the player has to look up or down to find an enemy. A funny interaction between Cortana and a Marine got cut for no reason.
Wait a moment. I'm going to access the Covenant BattleNet and locate an override code to open a door.
You better hurry, Cortana. We can't hold them off all day.
Working on it.
I'd like to see you crack a 128,000-bit modulating encryption key.
Wait a moment. I'm going to access the Covenant BattleNet and locate an override code to open a door.
Some of the areas received new designs, something that can be appreciated. What cannot be appreciated is how every single texture in the Covenant ship has the same color. Look at the original. It had blue, dark blue, purple, gray, white, but now everything looks the same and you can easily tell this is Unreal Engine 5. Let me play a very important voice line from Combat Evolved.
This is a good spot, Chief. We can mine the store here while you go after the captain. Good luck, sir.
The Marines were scripted to wait here just to change things up. Quick fun fact, after rescuing the captain, if you come back to the room where the Marines are supposed to wait for Master Chief, you will find out that some stealth elites got in the room and killed all of them. This made the Covenant look much more dangerous and told us something important. Marines, and more importantly, characters that are always with the player, can and will die. Because the Marines did not come with us, rescuing the captain felt more personal, making what happens to him later in the game even more heartbreaking. And this also allowed the player to use an active camo and use stealth to get to the captain, but the remake ruins all of that by forcing us to take the Marines with us, completely giving up on the core principle of this mission: stealth. Why do we need 7 Marines and an invincible Sergeant Johnson? Why is Sergeant Johnson with us in gameplay but absent from the cutscene? Where did he go? Oh wait, he's back again now. Like, what?
There are probably multiple detention stations. The captain must be in one of them. We need to keep looking for him. There are probably multiple detention stations. The captain must be in one of them. We need to keep looking for him. There are probably multiple detention stations. The captain must be in one of them. We need to keep looking for him.
So, let me understand this. They have new dialogue, but did not think to write some extra lines and instead got lazy and used the same line over and over again every minute? Typical 343 Industries. Sorry, I mean Halo Studios. Remember when I said waypoints are put on top of enemies to show where they are? Cortana also puts waypoints on stealth elites. You cannot be serious with this. Keyes almost stabs himself with the needler.
What's wrong with you?
Captain Keyes can respawn, which takes away the entire purpose of the rescue mission. Him dying used to result in a game over screen, but we cannot have that because if the game is challenging, people might get mad. You can also swap weapons with him and hold on, how do the Marines that we just rescued have their full gear on? 25 years ago, all they had were uniforms and Covenant weapons. No helmet, no vest, just big balls. Did the Covenant put these guys in the cells with their full gear on? Is Halo Studios trying to make the Covenant look stupid on purpose?
Stealth elites, watch your motion tracker and look for distortions in the air.
Thanks Cortana for using the same voice line that you first used when we got on the ship. Keyes still takes control of the dropship, and I don't know why, but Master Chief does not get in. Instead, he starts fighting 2 hunters. They start charging at him, and Keyes uses the dropship to crash into them. It looks awesome, but was this slow motion really needed? Also, the vehicles in the ship magically disappear. Mission 4, the Silent Cartographer. One of the most iconic Halo missions ever made. Yeah, they got rid of the first-person view and replaced it with some cinematic shots of the Pelicans getting to the island. 1 year ago, I made a 1-hour-long video about Combat Evolved and told a story of how Kid NoClick believed that going underwater could lead to some sort of secret level. Obviously, there was no secret level, but it was just awesome to be able to go underwater and see the island from far away. So obviously, the first thing that I tried to do in the demake is to go underwater and oh, an invisible wall 5 meters away from the beach, stopping the player from even being able to go underwater. My plan was to keep what I am about to say for a later part of the video, but screw it. The reason why you cannot go underwater is because the developers were too lazy to create an underwater screen effect. Truly a remade experience. But more to that a bit later in the video. It's possible to complete this level any way you want, so I decided to go backwards and skip some sections. Onto yet another stupid design decision. Combat Evolved had a tree here that was meant to block the player from getting through on the Warthog. Even if the player somehow got in, the level designers put rocks and trees everywhere to make it a bit more annoying. This was supposed to be an on-foot section, but Halo Studios, having more experience in making great Halo titles such as Halo 5 and Halo Anniversary, decided to remove the tree, the rocks and the other trees, and allow the player to traverse a section that was literally made to be played on foot in a Warthog. It's even possible to get the Warthog inside the building with the hunters.
Bravo 22 was bringing us some heavy weapons. After I saw we were up against hunters, I thought you could use them.
Bravo 22 was bringing us some heavy weapons. After I saw we were up against hunters, I thought you could use them.
Cortana is not supposed to be happy about this. Marines literally died, and she's like, "Oh, Master Chief, this was the plan all along. Go get the weapons, haha." I jumped down, got the rocket launcher, went back to the Marines, and because I skipped this area in the beginning, all of the enemies despawned. I took the same route in Combat Evolved, and guess what? The game remembered that the enemies were supposed to be here and did not despawn them. Truly a remade experience. And it's not just these enemies here, but also the enemies that were supposed to protect the entrance to the facility. Again, the OG remembers them. Every interior Forerunner texture looks the exact same. Where's the passion, guys? Come on! If you are lazy and do not want to texture stuff, just replace that with some fog and darkness because, darkness is so scary. The speedrun strat, where you can just skip all of the encounters by jumping down, still works, but the elites are no longer facing the other way because reasons. Halo Studios does not seem to understand the purpose of this hologram and what it's meant to show the player. The flashing red thing shows us where the control room is located. The Halo ring no longer has this detail in the demake. Also, wait a second. Didn't Halo Studios brag about using the original storyboards when remaking the cutscenes?
Lee Wilson's storyboards were so ambitious. You can just see exactly what their aspirations were. And so for Halo Campaign Evolved, it was a huge goal of ours to meet that ambition with our own cinematics.
Considering this is supposed to be a remake, why did they not remake the cutscene that was supposed to play after the end of the previous mission? I mean, come on guys, you had the storyboards, you bragged about them, so why not remake that? In the original, the Golden Elite battle is just terrifying, because the Elite is waiting for the player right around the corner. You have to either act fast or die. That is of course way too challenging for all of the new players, so the Elite waits in a different place. Everything else is the same, except the Pelican now waits for Master Chief at the entrance, putting itself at risk of being hijacked by the stealth elites that are nearby. The ending cutscene has been cut down dramatically. In the better game, we get in the Pelican, it flies off, we get an awesome shot of the Pelican turning around and then slowly making its way down this hole. Just watch how awesome it all is. The remake gets rid of every single shot except the last one. How is this a cutscene if it's only one shot? What happened to everything else? How is the player supposed to know where the Pelican is going? And holy crap, even though it's only one shot, it's somehow still worse. The screen is no longer shaking, there are no smoke effects, and basically the cutscene has no impact whatsoever. Mission 5. The intro cutscene of the Pelican scaring the grunt is iconic, impossible to ruin, right? Right?
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Does Halo need an anime zoom in on an enemy that cannot even show facial expressions? Man, that view is amazing. The amount of detail that went into making sure this place looks alien is insane. Great, the creepy looking textures have been replaced with PNGs of eyes, the thing in the middle no longer has an animation, and this is truly a remade experience, even including fewer animations for the moving things in the environments and fewer flashing lights, because programming that probably is very difficult. The hand holding that started all the way back in the first level continues. Every single corridor in the level has been downsized. Previously, to get to the next section, you had to walk forward, take a left, walk forward, take a right, and walk forward again. New players obviously cannot do something like that, it's just way too complicated. So, the corridor no longer has turns. The art direction for this level is obviously not the same. The lights are all blue instead of purple and yellow, completely changing the feel of the room and making it look like something out of the Silent Cartographer. And Halo Studios still does not seem to understand that the Forerunner structures are not supposed to be shiny.
Cortana to Fireteam Zulu, I read you.
Cortana? Oh man, am I glad to hear from you. We're in a bad way here, cousin. Covenant forces all over us. Transmitting our position now.
Coordinates received, Fireteam Zulu.
Wait, tracking data indicates we're almost on top of them, Chief. They should be in the canyon below us. Get a visual.
Cortana, the Pelican flew right in front of us just a few seconds ago. And why would the player get a visual of the Pelican when there are like 50 enemies nearby? Marines can later be seen near the Warthog that the Pelican drops off, but they are nowhere to be seen when looking down from the bridge. And guess what? The original had this detail 25 years ago. Golden Elites are supposed to jump, not just run at the player. Some of the interiors received some changes to make the level feel a lot less repetitive, and they just do not work because everything looks the exact same because of the textures. My favorite part in Assault on the Control Room was going down an elevator and then slowly sneaking past all of the enemies without getting spotted. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, but man, it was so fun. Let's see the demake. Nice, the grunts are still sleeping. Huh, this corridor was not here before. I bet it leads to a new section that will be even better than... Wait, the entire section got removed. Oh. What happened to the turret physics? Isn't this supposed to be Unreal Engine 5?
It's risky, but if you get close, we can hijack that Covenant vehicle.
Look, Dr. Freeman, it is a buggy. It is risky, but if you get in it and drive it over the antlions, they will die.
Wanna hear a fun fact? This entire level was designed in a way to make the player either use a ghost or a scorpion. The Warthog is also an option, but cannot be used properly because it can slip on ice. Trying to control it is almost impossible, so we gotta take the scorpion. Smart level design, right? Campaign Evolved looked at all the ice and said, huh, yeah, ice, let's put it in. But hold on. Do not make it slippery. Let the player use the Warthog to skip half of the encounters. Yeah, nice. Remove a feature that holds a level together just for the sake of it. Oh, but wait guys, let's add a mechanic that allows the Covenant to disable the Warthog by shooting at it with a plasma weapon. Nobody asked for such a mechanic, but we know what's good. Plus, why even listen to the community? They are still gonna buy our games no matter how bad they are.
Scary, let's click on it.
Onto a different topic, I don't really like the visuals. This looks like a basic Unreal Engine 5 snowy area instead of a mysterious location on a Halo ring in space. The trees used to have leaves and that gave some colors to the level. Now they are dead for no reason and everything is just white. Here is another example of the remake downgrading a section just for the sake of it. The interior of this facility had these slopes that could be used as a tactical advantage. For example, like waiting for these two elites elites to line up before shooting them. Guess what? The demake gets rid of them and turns the entire section into a big corridor. The elites can now spot the player before even getting a chance to strategize, turning a section that could have been played in a lot of different ways into a brainless point-and-shoot part. It's like the campaign evolved developers were scared that the players might have to think too much, and we cannot have that in a video game. No, no. How can someone see this crap and say that the graphics are amazing? What is so amazing about completely stripping what made the original great and making everything bright? Are we on a Halo ring or on the Unreal Engine 5 asset store? Sometime later, we arrive at this particular location, which of course also received some slope downgrading. They added a drivable wraith, something that I can appreciate. What I cannot appreciate is just how bad the ice cave looks. The ice texture is literally a PNG of ice. This isn't even supposed to be an ice tunnel. If you did not believe me when I said Halo Studios loves blue and hates purple, it's not too late to change your opinion. The wraith does not even fit properly, so you have to reverse and go to the other side, even though the Scorpion could easily fit through that place 25 years ago. CE had a funny moment of an elite running toward a wraith. Destroying that wraith before the elite can get to it results in the elite just standing there like, oh shit! And the player getting the gameplay advantage of not having to fight that wraith. Campaign Evolved, of course, does not have that moment. The wraith fight cannot be skipped. The rocket launcher now has a lock-on mechanic, meaning you will no longer get a dopamine shot each time you hit a Banshee, making it just a brainless point-and-shoot type of combat again. Snow can react to steps. Awesome, but Project Borealis, a free-to-play fan game, did it better, and by the way, it did it better like 5 years ago. Going up the elevator, the double bridge fight is the same, except the AI of the enemies on the other bridge is really stupid. Getting on the other bridge, hunters used to be more aggressive and were meant to force the player to keep moving. Now they have the attention span of an average TikToker and forget seeing the player after like 5 seconds. One of my best memories playing Combat Evolved was finding an active camo, sneaking past some hunters, jumping over some enemies, and quickly stealing a Banshee from the Covenant to skip a really long on-foot section and go straight to the control room. Sometimes the elites would get in the Banshees before me, and well, I would have to go on foot. The truly remade experience changes all of that by having the hunter encounter before the part where the player would find the active camo, and by the way, they also got rid of the active camo, which means that whatever I just said can no longer be done. Cortana now tells us to take the Banshee, and the enemies are no longer programmed to go straight for them, making it extremely easy to skip the entire on-foot section, turning a strategy that used to feel special into a joke. Even if the elites somehow get in before you, the Banshee can be hijacked using a single button on your keyboard. For an Unreal Engine 5 game, the map height limit is extremely disappointed. It is also very obvious that the Banshee hits an invisible wall, instead of that being hidden by a smart use of on-screen effects. They added in some kind of light to the entrance of the control room. First of all, yes, of course it's blue, and second of all, it deals no damage. Third of all, by the way, this is pathetic. Ah, the good old days of flying a Banshee into the control center and seeing it in the cutscene, giving us a good transition between the gameplay and the cinematics. Now compare that with this. Oh my god, the control center looks so bare bones. More on that later. For now, here is a comparison between the old and new cutscenes. Warning, the voice acting is cringe.
This is it, Halo's control center.
This is it. Halo's control center.
You all right?
Never been better. You can't imagine the wealth of information. The knowledge, so much, so fast. It's glorious.
You all right?
Never been better. You can't imagine the wealth of information. The knowledge. So much, so fast. It's glorious.
So, what sort of weapon is it?
What are you talking about?
So what sort of weapon is it?
What are you talking about?
Let's stay focused. Halo, how do we use it against the Covenant?
This ring isn't a cudgel, you barbarian. It's something else. Something much more important.
Let's stay focused. Halo, how do we use it against the Covenant?
This ring isn't a cudgel, you barbarian. It's something else. Something much more important.
The Covenant were right. This ring, it's Forerunner. Give me a second to access.
The Covenant were right. This ring, it's Forerunner. Give me a second to access.
Yes, the Forerunner built this place, what they called a fortress world, in order to... Wait. No, that can't be.
Yes! The Forerunners built this place, what they called a fortress world, in order to... Wait. No, that can't be.
Oh, those Covenant fools. They must have known. There must have been signs.
Slow down. You're losing me.
Oh, those Covenant fools. They must have known that there must have been signs.
Slow down. You're losing me.
The Covenant found something. Buried in this ring. Something horrible. And now, they're afraid.
The Covenant found something buried in this ring. Something horrible. And now they're afraid.
Something buried? Where?
The Captain. We've got to stop the Captain.
Keys? What
the
are
weapons cache he's looking for. It's not really...
Something buried? Where?
The Captain. We've got to stop the Captain.
Keys? What are we...
The weapons cache he's looking for. It's not really...
We can't let him get inside.
I don't understand.
There's no time. Get out of here, find Keys, stop him. Before it's too late!
We can't let him get inside.
I don't understand.
There's no time! Get out of here! Find Keys! Stop him! Before it's too late!
And finally, 343 Guilty Spark. Is the remake of it any good? Many want you to believe it is, but it's not. The cutscene of the enemies running away from something off screen has been completely removed. All there is left is the part where the Pelican arrives at the swamp and drops off Master Chief. The outside parts of the remake are kind of good. The atmosphere is on point, going through the swamp feels just as creepy as before, the destroyed Pelican is on fire and looks amazing, the destroyed dropship is in a different location, and this is what everyone was expecting Campaign Evolved to be. The flood can still be seen in the distance, more blood was put on the ground, showing that something not only eliminated the Covenant forces, but also dragged them down the elevator that we need to use to go down. Unfortunately, the interior looks the same as the Silent Cartographer and Assault on the Control Room. All the purple is gone. I found some dead Marines and at first I found it cool, but then realized that this kind of takes away what the original game was trying to show. All Marines and Elites are supposed to be gone because they get turned into flood forms. So it doesn't really make much sense to have these Marines here, but yeah, whatever. The part with the dead jackals does not have enough Covenant blood. I am not kidding, please add like 3 times more. Also, you can go into the room with the dead Covenant. I am happy to say that the Needler ammo that could only be found once in the entire campaign makes its triumphant return and does not disappoint. Wow, fascinating. The flood containment facility now flashes red lights, showing that something bad happened. People might find this to be a bit nitpicky, but the room with the crazy marine is supposed to be green. There is no more variety, just the same textures and lighting over and over again. How is the player supposed to be spooked out by a place that looks the same as the previous level? The crazy marine now drops a skull, awarding the player for literally eliminating one of their allies. Halo Studios, if you are listening, which is probably not the case because you never listen to anyone, please remove this immediately. It completely ruins the moment. A detail that was removed was this ramp that seems to have collapsed and then somehow been set on fire. The player had to crouch jump over the fire to progress. All of that is gone and has been replaced with nothing, just a normal ramp. Truly a remade experience. Onto the cutscene, which is probably what a lot of you have been waiting for. I am pretty happy to say it does a good job. at making sure it ruins everything. The sound design received a major downgrade. They made the cutscenes extremely quiet and removed the track that was written for the specific scene, and it just feels off, especially when you compare it to the OG. I am still trying to figure out if Halo Studios even knows what continuity is. The cutscene shows that the room has no lights on and everything is dark, but when it ends, the lights are magically on. Master Chief comes across a few dead bodies of elites and marines. First, this makes no sense from a lore perspective. These bodies have been here for hours at this point. Why would the flood not infect them? Second, the bodies magically disappear after the cutscene. How do you make that mistake? Combat Evolved had no bodies on the ground on purpose, to show the player that they were all turned into flood forms. Have these people even played Combat Evolved, or was this made by AI or something? Having such a big oversight in the most important cutscene of the entire game is ridiculous. The rest of the cutscene is pretty good. It still shows us Jenkins' perspective and acts as a found footage type of video, just like the original. The scene with the dead elite has been combined with the one that does the flood reveal, and I think it works pretty well.
Which is weird, right? I mean, look at it. Something scrambled the insides. Which is weird, right? I mean, look at it. Something scrambled the insides.
What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident, you know, friendly fire or something?
What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident, you know, friendly fire or something?
What do we have, Sergeant? Looks like a Covenant patrol. Badass elite units. All KIA.
What do we have, Sergeant? Looks like a Covenant patrol. Badass elite units. All KIA.
Real pretty. Friend of yours?
Nah, we just met.
Real pretty. Friend of yours?
Nah, we just met. I got a bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about this.
Boy, you always got a bad feeling about something. What's going on, soldier?
Boy, you always got a bad feeling about something. What the?
Captain, Sarge, can you hear me?
What's going on, soldier?
We've got contact, lots of them, but they're not Covenant. They're just staring through us. What the? Oh, no!
Corporal, do you copy? Over.
We've got contact, lots of them, but they're not Covenant. They're just staring through us. What the? Oh, no!
Corporal, do you copy? Over.
Mendoza, get your ass back up to second squad's position and find out what the hell is going on. But I don't have time for your lip, soldier. I gave you an order.
Sarge, listen.
Mendoza, get your ass back up to second squad's position and find out what the hell is going on.
But
I don't have time for your lip, soldier. I gave you an order.
But Sarge, listen.
What is that? Where's that coming from,
Everywhere.
Mendoza?
What is that? Where's that coming from, Mendoza?
Everywhere. I don't... There! Mira!
Hold still! Hold still! Let him have it!
I don't... Above you! There! Mira!
Let him have it!
Get out! Get it out!
Hold still! Hold still! Sergeant, we're surrounded. God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon!
There are too many, Sarge!
Don't even think about it, Marine.
God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon! Sergeant, we're surrounded.
Sweet mother. There are too many, Sarge!
Don't even think about it, Marine!
Oh, this is local!
Here, Marine. That's an order.
Oh, this is local!
Get back! back here, Marine. That's an order.
Jenkins!
Jenkins! Behind you!
Awesome stuff! The popcorn flood show up, and what you will notice is that their color has changed from bright yellow to a color that makes them look like the headcrabs from Half-Life Alyx. Is that a good change? No, it's just change for the sake of change. Even their sounds are different, and it's like, why? Why make them sound less terrifying? A change I liked is that the rooms the popcorn was in are infested and show just how disgusting the flood is. No click, are the flood combat forms good? No! There are only 2 models and they use the same death animations every time. With this being in Unreal Engine 5, I was expecting their bodies to turn into like a million different pieces, but nope, it is still just a bunch of pre-modeled gibs, like in Half-Life 1. What is that? But by far, the biggest problem with them is the AI, or the lack of AI. Remember in the original how they used to jump like 5 meters into the air and start sprinting at the player? Well, now they just... they are not as aggressive, attack way too slowly, and no longer feel like a threat. The AI is so stupid that sometimes the combat forms just start running away from the player and then turn into a popcorn. Like, what? The flood running away from Master Chief is literally the opposite of what should happen during this level. Not only that, but they sometimes forget the player is there and stare into the void. It is impossible to take these guys seriously. The OG had a part where you could watch some flood completely annihilate a few jackals. Halo Studios knew the AI of their version of the flood could never do something like that, so now it's just a normal combat section that feels extremely out of place. What you could have done is make the jackals friendly and maybe let the player fight alongside them for a minute or two, but no. Why think outside of the box? The shotgun makes its return, and just like every single weapon in the game, it just doesn't feel right. Its model is not accurate and looks like something out of Halo 2 or 3. Halo Studios had the perfect chance of introducing the shotgun in the Halo level where it was originally supposed to be introduced, and then introducing the flamethrower in 343 Guilty Spark. But they did not do that and decided to not even include the flamethrower in the game. Nothing would have been more awesome than burning lots of flood in the new graphics. Maybe it wasn't added in because the developers had no idea how to program a spreading fire mechanic or were too lazy to try. No point in pushing the limits of an engine for a quick cash grab. For those wondering, the going down the elevator part is still not as terrifying as what we had 25 years ago. The flood forms have weapons as usual, and I kind of like the idea of the facility being more infected or infested, whatever, the lower the player goes. One thing I have to mention is that the mission was way more terrifying when it was easier to get lost. Now the path you have to take is very linear and no longer allows you to fear what might be around the next corner. There was once a fire here, and the player had to crouch jump to go up. All of that is gone and replaced with a normal ramp just to make traversing through the mission a bit easier. Every moment that could make you uncomfortable got removed, and I just do not understand why. Combine that with the fact that the flood is really stupid and the entire level turns into a joke. My next problem with the remake is that it gets rid of the part where you could find a bunch of dead marines and jackals next to each other, showing that they tried to fight the flood together. Maybe I missed it, but if I didn't, well, how do you overlook something like that? People made stories about that. Going up the elevator... It's like the developers never even played Combat Evolved. You see these 10 marines? They get absolutely obliterated by the flood. All it takes for them to die is being bitten by one infection form or hit by one of the combat forms, even on the easiest difficulty. There are 2 reasons why this happens. First, it explains the lack of marines later in the game, and second, it shows just how brutal the flood can be. Now, the marines are way more powerful, have more HP, infection forms can no longer insta-kill them, and the flood seems seems to ignore them and only target the Master Chief. Some of them even make it to the end of the level. You had one job, Halo Studios, one job. Speaking of the end of the level, the final battle only finishes when all of the Flood are dead, instead of when the Chief gets to the tower, making the entire section twice as long and twice as boring. 343 Guilty Spark no longer teleports us to the tower, but rather just slowly walks up to us, or sorry, flies up to us? Floats up to us, whatever, and introduces himself. Moving on, we have the library, one of the most controversial missions in all of Halo. Just like almost every cutscene so far, what we see in the remake is much more low effort. Instead of it being a long cinematic, showcasing just how big the library is, and showing us what our objective for the mission is, followed by Guilty Spark teleporting Master Chief into the library, we get Guilty Spark teleporting Master Chief to a snowy area and saying some dialogue that was originally said during gameplay. We do not even see him teleport Master Chief into the library. The level just loads in. I am happy to say that the new Guilty Spark lines are still very good, and the actor did an amazing job making sure the character is the same. A lot of people hated the library in the original, calling it repetitive, boring, and way too difficult. Personally, I enjoyed it quite a lot, but I can see why some people might hate it. The library received a major change and can barely be recognized. The goal is still the same: retrieve the index and activate Halo. But now, the library is much smaller and you have to go down instead of up. I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, but unfortunately, this looks the same as the previous 4 levels. It's just the same shiny textures over and over again, and of course, everything is blue, even though this goddamn light was yellow in the original. There is just no variety whatsoever. 343 Guilty Spark does not even react to being shot anymore.
Please stop being human. Please control your temper. Are you finished yet? Please stop firing your weapon. We have much more important business here. That is completely unnecessary.
How do you overlook something like that? The first combat area is extremely easy. For comparison, CE threw like 50 of them at the player at the same time, and it was terrifying. The introduction of the carrier flood is pathetic. Back in the day, by loading into the library and walking a few steps forward, if you turned around, you would be like, oh shit! What is that? In Campaign Evolved, it's this.
By the genetic restructuring of a flood infection. The small creatures carry spores that cause...
The Flood does not even use the high ground anymore. Remember when they used to get on structures and shoot you from above? Or how about these few times when they would literally jump at you from the other side of the map and just make you shit your pants? Well, none of that happens here. On a positive note, the elevator sections are way more interesting and seem to be inspired by the Flood ambush elevator sections from Halo 2. A nice detail is that the library gets more disgusting the deeper you go into it, giving each floor a different feel. Unreal Engine 5, ladies and gentlemen. Unreal Engine 5, ladies and gentlemen. That is one of the new enemy types, the Flood tank form. Their AI is embarrassing, but more on that a bit later. The reasoning behind adding them is that they somehow broke out of some containment chambers or something like that, or I don't know, and now they're here. That's the second new enemy type, the Flood Michael Jackson form. He can beat anyone in a dance-off, being extremely efficient at parties. I appreciate that some new areas were designed for this mission, like this one, where the player has to turn on a bunch of light bridges and avoid falling into the popcorn pit. It's not difficult, but at least it's new. Rocket Flood are reintroduced and seem to have some sort of orange light that distinguishes them from the normal Flood. Although, I have to say, no rockets were shot at me the entire playthrough. I'm not even sure if they work. The clips that I'm about to show you show exactly what is wrong with the Flood. Pay attention to how the Flood jumps at the Sentinels and smacks the crap out of them. Now watch this clip. Take a look at how the infection forms come toward the player while Guilty Spark is trying to open a door. The forms appear on the ceiling, jump down one by one, and slowly start making their way to us, looking as terrifying as ever. But here it's like, oh, infection forms are supposed to attack the player. Just have them spawn normally, whatever. Is everything alright? Need someone to talk to? Some people will watch this entire video and still believe that I am nitpicking and that the game isn't really that bad. So fine, please watch this comparison of the behavior of the Flood.
just a breath away, losing my faith today.
Falling off the edge today.
I am just a man, not superhuman.
I'm not superhuman.
Someone save me from the haze. It's just another war, just another family torn.
Falling from my feet today.
Just a step on the edge, just another day in the world we live. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero.
Save me now.
I need a hero to save my life. A hero will save me.
Just in time.
I've gotta fight today to live another day. Speaking my mind today.
My voice will be heard today.
I've gotta make a stand, but I am just a man.
I'm not superhuman.
My voice will be heard today. It's just another war, just another family
My
torn.
voice will be heard today.
It's just another kill. The countdown begins to destroy ourselves. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero.
Save me now.
Remember that awesome battle at the end of the level where some Flood would literally jump through a hole in the big door and then the door would open and reveal a million of them just waiting behind it, followed by a part where the Master Chief has to quickly run away from what felt like an endless army of space zombies to trigger the ending cutscene? Remember watching a nice cinematic shot of the big elevator going down and the Chief being surrounded by a bunch of energy barriers? Yeah, well, forget about all of that. Everything I said does not even exist anymore. Here's how the mission ends. If you are still of the opinion that the new library is better, then maybe I'm just blind or something, I don't know.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
Cortana.
I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats.
Hold on now. He's a friend.
12 hours. 12 hours I've been stuck in here, watching you cozy up to that thing while it sharpens the knife to slit our throats.
Hold on. He's a friend.
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum?
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum?
Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do?
Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do?
Yes. Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the Flood, which is why we brought the Index to the control center. Yes. Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the Flood, which is why we brought the Index to the control center.
You mean this?
You mean this?
A construct in the core? That is absolutely unacceptable.
Sod off!
A construct in the core? That is absolutely unacceptable.
And yet...
What impertinence! I shall purge you at once!
You sure that's a good idea?
What impertinence! I shall purge you at once!
You sure that's a good idea?
How dare you!
Do what? I have the index. You can just float and sputter.
Enough!
How dare you! I'll...
Do what? I have the index. You can just float and sputter.
Enough! The flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out. The flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out.
You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it?
You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it?
Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food.
Halo doesn't kill Flood, it kills their food.
Humans, Covenant, whatever.
Humans, Covenant, whatever.
We're all equally edible.
You're all equally edible.
The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death.
The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death.
And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life.
And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life.
You don't believe me? Ask him.
You don't believe me? Ask him.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done? Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go right now.
We need to go right now.
Last time you asked me if it were my choice, would I do it? Last time you asked me if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring. Having had considerable time to ponder your queries, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring.
Get us out of here.
Get us out of here.
The control room feels much smaller. The visuals are the same as every level so far, and you probably already get the idea by this point. It doesn't look as good, and most importantly, the Halo does not have the flashing red dots that show the flood outbreak. I did a test to see if the enemies can remember the player once he gets behind an energy shield, and the results are bad.
Stay alert! Heresy is near! Aha! Heretic revealed!
Everything is the same in this part. I mean, it's kind of difficult to mess it up when making an exact copy of it. After grabbing the Banshee, my idea was to test the height limit again, and the game decided to hit me with a return to the battlefield message. Previously, our vision got more obstructed the higher we went, and again, the invisible wall was hidden very well. But what's the point of adding any of that? Just put a kill barrier in the air and punish the player for trying to explore. The part with the pulse generator is different. It no longer requires you to use the shield to blow up the generators. Instead, the goal is to destroy 3 power conduits. Was this change necessary? No, and it ruins a section later on, but we will talk about that when we get there. The pulse generator deals no damage, even though it should, again confirming that the playtesters were either drunk or had never played a video game up until that point. A second Banshee used to spawn here in the original. This was done to avoid soft locks. Now, you can easily soft lock yourself by destroying the Banshee and getting a checkpoint, even though the original was specifically programmed not to give any checkpoints if the Banshees were destroyed. I'm starting to believe nobody even playtested Campaign Evolved, because you can also softlock yourself by jumping down on the new geometry and getting a checkpoint. truly a remade experience. Being a real gamer, I tried boosting myself to hopefully find a way out of the soft lock, and then fell off and accidentally became a god, now able to walk on air. Truly a remade experience. Skipping ahead, we get to the double bridge part. Oh, hello guys! Yes, please only start fighting after noticing me. This part was really good 25 years ago. The Flood would overwhelm us by jumping from bridge to bridge, showing just how different and unpredictable they are compared to the Covenant. Now, there's almost no Flood on the other side, making the entire section feel the same as the double bridge section from Assault on the Control Room. Getting to the second bridge, the Flood still have rocket launchers, but seem to be afraid to use them, and the Banshee is brain dead. There is so much wrong with this game. How can you release it in such a bad state? You can literally just run away from the Flood and they forget they even saw you in less than 2 seconds. It's impossible to be scared by the Flood tanks if all it takes to avoid them is to jump on a small platform. The outside area is a bit different. The path that could have been taken in the past has been blocked off. Now the only way to progress is to use some of the new geometry. Hunters can be seen fighting tank forms, like one of those NPC fight videos you would see on YouTube. How did they all happen to be in the same place? Who knows? Okay, so the second pulse generator fight that made the player go into the belly of the beast while a million enemies were around has been changed to be a bit more friendly. All you have to do is destroy the 3 power conduits that are not even in the room where all of the enemies are shooting at each other, because why would you put the player in a vulnerable situation and make them fight enemies? Oh, and Flood forms can apparently get scared by Master Chief. My first instinct after going outside was to see if it was possible to soft lock myself again, and well, yes, it was very possible, and it took me 3 seconds to do it. Unfortunately, my god powers did not seem to work anymore, resulting in me having to restart the mission. Luckily, it was divided into multiple sections in the menu, so I did not have to replay everything from scratch. The gate at the end of this tunnel no longer explodes to show it was destroyed by the Flood. Now it's just stuck. I used camo to skip the encounter and found a ghost on my way to the third pulse generator, which I proceeded to destroy. Why? Well, it completely ruins what Combat Evolved was going for. The reason we do not get a ghost in Combat Evolved is because the game wants us to go into the belly of the beast, where the Flood and Covenant are fighting each other, and steal a ghost from there. Now there is not even any reason to engage with any of the enemies, and you can easily skip the entire section. The same thing can also be done in the next section, which used to have rocket Flood here to punish the players who tried rushing the mission in a vehicle. The rocket Flood were removed and replaced with nothing, making it easy to skip past all of the encounters, grab the Banshee and get to the end of the level. Unreal Engine 5 lighting. Ladies and gentlemen, the ending cutscene makes a bit more sense now, and I think it's a bit better than what we had 25 years ago.
Needless to say, I think we should only try to do this.
Needless to say, I think we should only try this once.
Do it.
Mission 9, Keys, starts with a good cutscene and the Truth and Reconciliation ship being completely destroyed. The last part, however, is not that great and turns what was a short and funny joke into Master Chief actually getting mad at Cortana.
Oh, I see. The coordinate data needs to be... Right. Sorry.
Oh, I see. The coordinate data needs to be... Right. Sorry.
A Flood form still chases the Grunt here, but forgets about him 2 seconds later. The cutscene of Master Chief jumping down into the goo has been removed.
told you it was deep enough.
What do you mean deep enough? It's not even possible to go under the goo like in the original. Remember when I said Campaign Evolved has no underwater effects, which is why the silent cartographer does not allow the player to go underwater? Here is more proof of that. How lazy can a developer team be? Just look at how bad the goo texture looks. This part originally allowed us to watch the Flood and Covenant fight each other. Now some combat forms instantly notice and start shooting at us. Still don't believe my no underwater effect theory? Then please explain this.
The crash did more damage than I suspected.
The effect of the goo falling on us is worse than it was 25 years ago. Something else that was better 25 years ago was this section, where the player could watch the Flood slowly make their way to some grunts and an elite, completely flipping over the turret the elite is in and destroying the grunts. All of that gets ruined because first of all, a grunt is now programmed to see us instantly, and second of all, the physics are different, meaning the turret cannot even be flipped over. Plasma shots can leave decals on top of the supposed goo, confirming it's just a flat surface with a fake green water effect. Rocket Flood was added in this section because reasons.
The captain, his vitals are fading. Please, Chief, hurry!
Maybe he is just constipated. Man, I wish I had positive things to say, but even though the supposed remake copied 95% of the sections from the original and called it a day, all of the sections it copied are worse. Like the gravity lift part. You could quickly kill some of the enemies and go up without having to get rid of everyone. Now it doesn't work until all of the enemies have been dealt with, completely removing any sense of urgency.
I can feel them crawling inside my mind. But I won't give in.
Just like 343 Guilty Spark and the library, the level gets more infested the more you play, and also the closer you get to the Proto Gravemind. The cutscene is good, and I would say even better than the original for the most part. The Chief is more emotional about what happens to Keyes, making the entire scene even more disturbing than it already was.
Chief? Chief!
How do we free him?
It's not him. Not anymore.
Keyes' face is just terrifying to look at. What I did not like is that the Master Chief no longer punches a hole through Keyes' face, but instead grabs the chip we need from the back of his head and leaves him alive, which means the Flood can continue to go through his mind and find information about Earth, something that makes no sense from a lore perspective. Why not put him out of his misery? His in-game model no longer moves, even though it moved 25 years ago. Even if Keyes died off-screen or something like that, the Gravemind should still move. Remember the specialized Covenant forces, aka the Spec Ops, and just how scary they were? The elites could throw grenades, were much faster, had better AI, and were very aggressive. In the demake, they ruined that by, well, first of all, giving every elite in the game the ability to throw grenades, making the Spec Ops not as important, but these elites also have the same AI as the other Covenant forces and do not seem to have any extra HP or anything like that. Pretty much just being a reskin instead of a new enemy variation. Let's compare the animations of the elites in the ending cutscene. In CE, they shoot 1,000,000 bullets at Master Chief and he barely manages to escape. In the remake, they stand in front of the Banshees like idiots and one of them even dies. What the hell are these animations? Oh, and by the way, the second Banshee that was there a second ago is nowhere to be found. Continuity is not Halo Studios' strong suit. Actually, nothing seems to be their strong suit. But anyway, let's see how they ruined the Maw. Combat Evolved starts with an awesome, long cinematic that shows the Pillar of Autumn, followed by our Banshee appearing in the shot and then crashing into the autumn. The demake has no cinematography. It's a still shot, followed by a still shot, followed by another still shot, and then another still shot, and Oh wow, there is a small zoom in on this one. The reason why they could not do the old shot is because the area around the Autumn is unfinished, and I can prove that. But before that, what needs to be said is that the scene with the Chief crashing into the Autumn has also been ruined. Yes, the cinematography of some of these shots is way better than just having still images, but the developers decided to give the Master Chief a new voice line that references what happened back in the Keys level when he got teleported upside down because Cortana put in the wrong coordinates.
Pull up! Pull up! You did that on purpose, didn't you? Pull up! Pull up! You did that on purpose, didn't you?
There must have been something wrong with the coordinate data.
Normally this line would be funny, but it just feels out of character and not something that the Halo 1 Master Chief would say. Back to my point, the reason why I can prove that this area is unfinished is because there is an invisible wall exactly at the beginning of the level. For reference, CE allowed you to jump off and had actual geometry even outside the playable area. Animating is difficult, so the developers decided to remove the popcorn that used to come up this ladder because, let's be honest, who really needs that? It's way too scary. Getting to the bridge, the cutscene is fine for the most part. Cortana still butchers her voice lines, but the part where 343 Guilty Spark finds humanity's records and scans them is kind of awesome. The grunt that runs away from the popcorn no longer exists, removing a funny moment for no reason. I think I said everything that needed to be said, so I'm not gonna waste too much time on what happens after this. The gameplay section here is a bit different. The armory is now on the way to the fusion reactors, which is a good change. The fusion reactors are now way easier to shoot and no longer require the player to time their shots because why would we need to give the player a challenge? And now it's like 5 times easier to skip most of the combat sections by jumping on this platform, which by the way used to be a trick jump, but now everyone can do it. Cortana's elevator dialogue is horrible.
Cortana to Echo 419. Come in, Echo 419. Roger, Cortana. I'm read 555. The Pillar of Autumn's engines are going critical, Fohammer. Request immediate extraction. Approach the crash site and be ready to pick us up at external access junction 4C as soon as you get my signal. Affirmative. Echo 419 going on station. Echo 419 to Cortana. Things are getting noisy down there. Everything okay? Negative. We have a wildcat destabilization of the ship's fusion core. The engines must have sustained more damage than we thought. Echo 419 to Cortana. Things are getting noisy down there. Everything okay? Negative. We have a wildcat destabilization of the ship's fusion core. The engines must have sustained more damage than we thought.
Fortunately, the Warthog run is good. We get 7 minutes instead of 6. Even though the distance is shorter because the remake removes a lot of the areas, I would say that's fair because it's probably easier to get distracted by stuff and stop to explore, even though it makes no sense. Why would you do that? It's very different and I like it quite a lot. It's no longer a straight line. We get a bunch of right and left turns. Some of the areas from the original are still present but have been reimagined, and one of my favorite moments was seeing the Pillar of Autumn's destruction in the new outside area for the first time. There is even a new scene where Echo 419 can be seen trying to evade 2 Banshees. Echo 419 still dies, and the scene unfortunately gets ruined if you get out of the Warthog.
Alert, we need to keep moving. Get back in the Warthog.
I'm hit! Mayday! Mayday! Airport system is shot to hell! I can't hold on! I can't hold on!
Alert, we need to keep moving. Get back in the Warthog. Echo 419. She's gone.
Yeah, Cortana, kind of a late reaction, don't you think? The last part of the run can only be described as absolute cinema. The Pillar of Autumn starts setting itself on fire, and the amount of explosions is insane. Too bad the ending cutscene ruins it. We used to see the Chief raise the Flood, getting the long sword, and I mean, you probably know what happens. Now the Chief gets in it from the front without even racing the Flood. He forgets to close the long sword like an idiot, resulting in a tank form ambushing him. But the Chief quickly uses the magnum that Keyes gave him to kill the tank and fly away. Please tell me why the Flood forms in the background are so slow. Master Chief would have died here in a realistic scenario. Also, please pay attention to the continuity of the Flood from shot to shot. The Chief escapes from the Halo, and I cannot believe I am saying this, but they somehow ruined the awesome shot of the Halo getting destroyed. Not only do we not get to see it up close, but the original gave us a second to look at the damage we did. The remake just cuts off immediately.
Just dust and echoes.
Just dust and echoes.
We're all that's left. We did what we had to do. For Earth. An entire Covenant armada obliterated, and the Flood. We had no choice.
We're all that's left. We did what we had to do. For Earth. An entire Covenant armada obliterated, and the Flood. We had no choice.
At this point, just fire the fucking Halo rings. The voice acting sucks.
Halo. It's finished.
Yeah. It's finished.
Now moving on to the DLC, which apparently adds 3 new bonus prequel missions. We start with some text on the screen. I ain't reading all that. We see a Covenant dropship. The Chief is in it. He steals his own Halo 2 voice line because why think of something different?
Boo.
Good first impression. Truly a remade experience. We find out Johnson was in the dropship the entire time. Why he didn't help the Chief will remain a mystery. Master Chief now talks during gameplay and acts nothing like the Chief we see in Combat Evolved.
Layout matches what Naval Intelligence provided, confirming a route to the ship's command center.
Bro, shut up.
We keep quiet and play our cards right, we'll be in, out, and back by dinner.
You're always hungry.
Shut up.
Any way to speed this up?
Shut up! I don't really know what the goal of this mission is, and just like Halo Studios, I am too lazy to find out, but judging by what is going on, it is probably safe to assume that the goal is to try not to fall asleep. Everything looks like the Truth and Reconciliation. The combat is the same as in the normal missions. The enemy encounters are nothing too special. Hunters get introduced again, but oh wow, their color is different. That changes everything!
Hunters. Concentrate fire on their exposed areas. Fire at will.
Did they really add a line where Master Chief breaks the fourth wall?
I'll take the high ground.
How can they not hear us? The Covenant ship interior textures are now white because the developers could not be bothered to create new ones, and oh, we get a funny scene of 2 sword elites practicing, but the scene unfortunately gets ruined when one of them gets into a ghost for literally no reason and runs me over. I decided to use a camo to sneak past them, but it seems one of them is programmed to detect the player and still gets in the ghost no matter what you do. Great level design. Let's not reward strategy. At this point I had to activate waypoints because the level design is very confusing. The amount of repetitive hallways and similar looking areas reminds me of the old version of the library. It just keeps going and never stops. The Covenant have human weapons? Wasn't it said multiple times that the Covenant hate human weapons and do not even want to use them as trophies? Is this not canon, or does the lore not matter anymore? How engaging. Get ready to watch the dumbest cutscene of all time. Master Chief and Johnson can be seen fighting the Covenant. Master Chief catches a plasma grenade and throws it at an enemy, which is something that should not be possible from a lore perspective. And the animations of the enemies are just... What the hell are they doing? Why are they dancing? And holy shit, why is Master Chief, a Spartan, struggling to kill two grunts, an elite and a jackal? To make it even worse, a prophet gets introduced like an anime villain, tells the Covenant to hold fire and starts talking.
Had you and your companion given word of your arrival, I would have arranged a tour.
Why are they not shooting him?
I think we've seen enough already.
Why is Master Chief arguing with the prophet?
I would have thought you were...
Shoot him! He literally starts doing boxing ring introductions for every single enemy and we just watch it for no reason. A brute is revealed and built up as extremely dangerous, only for the fight against him to be this. We get to a place that reminds me of something out of Halo 2 and we fight some brutes and yeah, whatever. Who cares? That cutscene literally ruined my fun. I had to enable waypoints again because how is anyone supposed to know where to go without them? We get a pointless cutscene of the Chief and Johnson talking about nothing and Mission 2 loads in. How are we supposed to take his language seriously if it ends with poo-poo? At least we get a nice vista. Return to the battlefield, of course. Johnson's new weapon was used a lot in the promotional material, but cannot be used in gameplay and can be sent into the backrooms. Outside combat with brutes, they are not as aggressive and act like every other enemy, the graphics look pretty good, blah 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 blah, and there is just nothing to say. All of this is boring. Someone called Williams appears out of nowhere and we somehow know her name before she introduces herself. She does not seem to respect Master Chief and is extremely unlikable.
You don't seem as impressed as the rest of your crew.
No, Sergeant Major, I'm not. Takes more than fancy armor and a good PR campaign to impress me.
Who the hell do you think you are? Even Johnson is disappointed. Combat, 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 blah 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 blah, more combat, blah 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 blah. I tried getting a ghost into a building, but with this being a game made by Halo Studios, fun is not allowed. Therefore, it did not work, and the gravity lift completely ignored its existence. How do they not see us? More Covenant hallways, blah 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 blah. More hallways and yeah, it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. We free some Marines in a room that, by the way, has just been copy-pasted from Truth and Reconciliation, and Johnson gives a speech.
I see that look. You're wondering if you got the guts to fight after what you've been through. You think those Covenant bastards broke you? Hell no! You're UNSC Marines! You've endured the worst they've got, and you're still breathing.
Not bad, Spartan. I'm almost starting to believe the propaganda.
There is so much wrong with that. Johnson's speech was really bad, the Marines did not even react to it, and holy shit, why is she here? The Marines we just rescued do not pick up weapons, even though there are many weapons on the ground. And yeah, this is just garbage. Outside combat, blah 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 blah, repetitive, repetitive, repetitive. Banshees show up but then disappear for no reason.
Look, Marines like us used to be the heart and soul of the UNSC.
Literally nobody asked. More boring combat, blah blah blah. We get to a structure that looks like something out of Doom Eternal and again, nothing happens. There are no moments. We get back into the Covenant ship, a cutscene plays a few minutes later, they talk and talk and talk and say nothing, and yeah, nothing happens. Mission 3 starts with us back in the Covenant ship. Johnson and Chief talk loudly, and somehow the grunts that are in the room with them do not wake up.
Then we get what we came for.
You forgot, and then we get the hell off this crazy boat.
And oh my god, it's the same thing again. The same corridor over and over again. Combat, corridors again, more boring combat, a cutscene of the Prophet saying some stuff, Johnson shooting his monitor, more fights, more corridor fights, more corridor fights, more corridor fights. Please end this already. We find a Covenant gondola, get on it, fight some more aliens, and get more corridor combat. Williams got rid of the Covenant forces. Nobody cares, nobody is impressed.
Spartans aren't the only badasses in the UNSC.
Calling yourself a badass does not make you a badass. She then proceeds to sacrifice herself or whatever. Who cares? Also, this is just a copy of what happens during that specific part in Halo Reach. You know what I'm talking about. She sacrifices herself and the thing blows up. What a concept. I have never heard of that before. Wow. We get a space battle part where you have to destroy banshees, destroy turrets, and do that like 10 times. The big Covenant ship gets destroyed, and the DLC ends with Johnson talking with Dr. Halsey, a character we have not seen in like 10 years. And it turns out destroying the ship gave them the location of High Charity. Wow. I mean, honestly, I have never felt more defeated trying to write an outro for a video. This game sucks. It has almost no redeeming qualities, and you are better off just buying the entire MCC collection, which by the way is cheaper, and playing that, or just playing some fan campaigns such as Ruby's Rebalanced Mod, SPV3, or even Cursed Halo. Combat Evolved deserved much more than just a quick cash grab. If you watched the entire video and are still of the opinion that this game is good, just press the don't recommend channel button on my channel, because how do you like something so bad? Just go play Halo Combat Evolved. It is like 50 times better. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.